Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. April 5th, 2018.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, author of Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, Trump's War, and God, Faith, and Reason, Michael Savage.
I ran all the way to say I'm sorry. What can I say? I ran all the way.
It is Rock and Roll Thursday on the Savage Nation. All the news, views, and reviews you've come not to expect. You will hear from me again today. There's so much news. Today there is a lot of news. I mean, I knew that, how many years have I told you that the Motor Vehicle Bureau in California, I jokingly referred to it, DMV, Department of Mexican Voting. I said that in 96. No one heard me. Now it turns out that Governor Brown and his left-wing fanatic minions have given out over 1 million driver's licenses to non-citizens. Now, why would they do that? Is it out of compassion? Is it for humanitarian reasons? No, it's an ID card so they can basically vote. I know you don't need ID in California to vote. In fact, when I try to show ID, they actually shun me. And they say, oh, don't show us that. I said, what do you mean don't show you that? Well, anyway, 1 million illegal aliens. Now, this is a state that produces one corrupt politician after another. One non-entity after another is produced in this state. And now they produced another one called Kamala Harris. She has no background whatsoever, nothing to distinguish her, other than she's part of the machine, the California machine, that has produced the likes of Governor Jerry Brown and others who have driven the state into garbage. They've destroyed San Francisco. It's a city I still love. You know what's going on here, the crime. There was a conference here. It's going on right now with international gamers. International gamers are in San Francisco for a convention. They are shell-shocked by the dangerous city they are in. They've come from around the world. They want the hosting of this conference stopped in this city. They could not believe what they've seen. Muggings, beatings, robberies, cars broken into. San Francisco is a big tourist city, but because of liberalism, the city is in decline, the state is in decline, the roads are broken. So they produce a broken politician with no background whatsoever, nothing to distinguish her, Kamala Harris. And she goes on the Elf's show, Ellen DeGeneres, someone I have absolutely no idea why she's so popular. I find her neutral at best. I find nothing about her of any appeal. But, to each his own. Daytime television attracts daytime television watchers who are basically leeches and welfare cheats. Who else watches daytime television? Who else is home watching television? Oh, I know pilots during the day, soldiers during. All right, fine. I don't know her appeal, but, to each his own. So Kamala Harris, you never heard of her. They're running her as the great hope for California. The new president, Kamala Harris. She goes on the Ellen show, and she puts out a death joke about Trump. I want you to listen to it. And then ask yourself a question. What if I'll make it racial, because it's all about race here. It's all about racial politics in California. What if a white male politician had gone on a talk show and was asked a similar question and had an answer similar to that of Kamala Harris? And by the way, what Ellen DeGeneres did by letting this joke go out on the air and laughing along with her about killing Trump and others, what if someone on Fox News had done that, for example? Laura Ingraham said one word about that little snot-nose in Florida, calling him a brat or something, I don't even know what, and all the advertisers left her show. Why are the advertisers so loyal to a show that promotes death of the political leaders of this country? Listen to this yourself, and then think about what would happen if a white male politician said that on a radio or television show. Listen.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. The advertisers, you should boycott that show. That's number one. But I'm not in the boycott business. That show. Now, you got to ask yourself, why do some shows get boycotted and not others? I've been a product of boycotts for 25 years. You don't know this. I've tried to hint at it before, but you know what? Let's take the mask off this whole game. You ready for this? I'm on what's known as a no-buy list. So is, I believe, the leaders in talk radio. Why? What is our crime? We are conservative. So you never hear an ad for Cadillac. You never hear an ad for Dodge. I own a Dodge Hellcat. You never hear an ad for the major producers of great products in this country. It's not that the manufacturers wouldn't love to be on this show, but something you don't know about the ad business is that 3 or 4 people, czars, they're called ad agencies, control the entire media business. And they may not like our politics, and so they exert a form of fascism in the marketplace. Is it legal? I'm not so sure it's legal. I'm not so sure that if someone in this business that I am in were to sue these ad agencies for discriminatory practices, interfering with the economic advantage of people who they boycott, that they wouldn't prevail in court. But I'm not going to do it. I have other fish to fry. So that's topic number one. It's a big deal. Now, this morning, I'll tell you the truth, I got up at 4:30 in the morning, which for me is very early. I do an afternoon drive show on the East Coast. Here on the West Coast, obviously, it's at noon. But the thing is, I was asked to go on a show on WABC, the great Bernie and Sid show. I like these guys. They're great. I was on their show when they were on the station in the middle of the day. But they moved them to a morning slot. So the station asked me to go on. And for me, you know, I did it because I want to, you know, make my program directors happy around the country, especially I would say my number one station. It's a big station, you know. And I got up at 4:30. I didn't have to be on until 6:45 my time. But, you know, it's like, you know, you got an early flight. How many times you get up that night looking at the clock, like all night long? That's what it does. It throws off my sleep cycle. All right, big deal, big suffering deal. I'm not a soldier in World War I laying in a trench. So I go on the show. So as I'm waiting to go on the show, this is what I got to tell you. I just listened to the traffic report on WABC, and I got nostalgic for New York. There's a jam up on the Van Wyck Expressway and going north the primary. And I hear that and I want to be in New York again. All of a sudden, I feel the power, the dynamics of the city in which I lived so many years. I've been gone for so long. But the energy just from the traffic report was more interesting to me than the news that I hear on most television stations. Why is that? Why is that New York is so intense and so great? I asked myself. And then it led me to a question as I went on my bike ride later in the morning. I thought about You Can't Go Home Again. I've thought about moving back to New York many, many times. And I thought, what if in my audience there are people, both Americans born here, foreigners who came here. Do you ever wish you could move back to where you came from? And then what happens when you actually go home? What did it look like when you went back to Karachi, for example? Or you went back to Chiapas? Is that where you really want to be? Many of us imagine that the home of our teens or our childhood is, we romanticize it. And then we go back there and what happens? It's not what we thought it was, right? So you really can't go home again because you were thinking about something that never was. You're imagining something that never was. At least I think so. And I was going to ask you about it. And then I saw another story today that caught my eye. You know the actor Sean Penn, who I detest from the top of my being to my bottom. Not because he's a bad actor, but because he's a horrible human being. A horrible human being, one of the worst God has ever put on the planet. An arrogant monster of a human being who hates everything about this country, who went to South America, if you remember, to Venezuela, when that monster Hugo Chavez, the socialist dictator, he always cavorts with dictators, whether it's the Iranian monsters or what is it about this guy that makes him so psycho, I ask myself. Here is a spoiled guy, a good actor who makes a fortune, who hates the country that made his fortune. A man who chooses every opportunity to spit on the country. A man who cavorts like he's Mr. Muscle-bound, Mr. Perfect down there in Hollywood. So I ask myself, all right, forget about him. Then I read this morning in the Post a story that I couldn't believe. And my headline is Spawn of Penn busted for meth and other drugs. So who's Spawn of Penn? Apparently has a son named Hopper Penn, the poor kid, the son of Robin Wright and Sean Penn, who we're calling the Spawn of Penn instead of Sean Penn, Spawn of Penn. And he was reportedly arrested for drug possession in Nebraska yesterday. Hopper Penn and girlfriend Uma von Wittkamp were pulled over for failing to signal when a police officer detected drug activity, TMZ reported. After searching the vehicle, police allegedly found 14 grams of marijuana, not a big deal, 4 amphetamine pills, not a big deal, I guess, if you're a Hollywood, and 3 grams of hallucinogenic mushrooms. I guess that's a standard package for driving as the son of a movie star. So Hopper was reportedly arrested for possession of mushrooms and less than an ounce of marijuana, while Van Wittkamp, she took the rap for possession of mushrooms and amphetamines. So you know what that's all about. Here, hold these betties for me, so I don't go to jail. The girl does it. It's another Chappaquiddick. Doesn't it look like a Chappaquiddick to you? Here, hold these quick. I'm famous, you're not. Last March, Hopper Penn, that is the Spawn of Penn, revealed his years-long struggle with crystal meth addiction, and blah, 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 blah. So he went into rehab, came out, said he's fine, then he gets busted again. So it brought up this question to me, which is this. And I asked someone I respect very much in L.A., in Hollywood, in Beverly Hills, what he thinks about it. I said to this person whose opinion I respect, I said, why do you think kids of Hollywood rich go bad? So he says to me, it is not complicated. They don't spend time with their kids, and they do drugs themselves. What is the confusion? See what I mean? Smarter than me? I'll be right back. It's the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Love this song. It is 23 minutes after the hour, listening to the visionary Michael Savage. I changed the course of human events by electing Donald Trump. What are you talking about? You can't take that away from me. No, my birthday party, my son said, who would have ever thought that my father would have changed the course of this nation? And it was very nice of him. So here we are. I got to tell you something funny. You know, I'm new to Twitter. Like, I've been on it since 2009 or whatever. I never did much with it. In fact, I put it down when Donald Trump started to do it. I said, stop it already. It's adolescent. It's juvenile. Stop with the tweets, right? And then I said, you know, if you can't beat him, join him. So I started tweeting very heavily shortly thereafter that. And then I got into it. It becomes like an obsession. And I found out something interesting about tweeting. If I put up a political story, it gets, a certain amount. But if I put up a personal story, like a picture of my cars, it's like triple. So last night after the show, I didn't feel good. I went home. I didn't want to go out. No dinner out. It's just like I had a sore throat coming on. I'm going to stay home and do my standard thing, which is chicken, spaghetti, and a bottle of red wine. I don't drink red wine a lot because I get a headache generally. But when I don't feel good and I got a sore throat, it guaranteed I spray my throat with a certain herbal thing, dose up with megagrams of vitamin C, take a lot of vitamin A, and then I drink some red wine and I cook. So I cook a dish, I put it up on Twitter, and I'm getting hit by all these Italians. They say, look, how could you do that? They see the plate of food that I put up there, and it's actually a beautiful picture. But what they don't understand is, they said, why do you put lettuce underneath your pasta and underneath what's in the pasta dish in your plate? I've never seen anything like that. They don't understand something. I, for one, don't like eating cold salad. So if you put lettuce at the base of your plate, and then you put your spaghetti on top of it, your sauce and whatever you cook, what happens is the lettuce gets warm, it wilts, but meanwhile all the juices of the food go into the lettuce. And you can have your salad while you're eating your dinner. You don't eat it separate. You understand that? I don't know why people are so objecting to it. But the response was overwhelming, just a picture of a meal. Then I put up this, I said, just up to be on the Bernie and Sid show on ABC. Ungodly hour for me. They told me that President Trump is calling into their show tomorrow. And I said, why not the Savage Nation? I wonder, right? I like Bernie and Sid. It's a local show on ABC. Why would he not come on a national show that got him elected? I don't know. So I asked why not the Savage Nation. And frankly, I have texted some people in the inner circle and said, hey, wait a minute. Are you kidding me? You're going to go on a show? They're great people, but what do you mean, not me? No, I haven't heard an answer. Maybe I just bummed them out already. But I am going to be in New York at the end of the month. I'm going to be at WABC. I'm going to meet all the good people. On the Monday of that week that I'm going to the White House for, I told you, a diplomatic dinner. Big deal for me. It'll be occurring on the Wednesday of that week, the dinner, right? No, I don't know. No, on Tuesday. So I'm flying in on Sunday night. Monday I'm going to be broadcasting from Washington, D.C., not from a station because I'm not on a station. They only have people who are not like me on that station, but I'm going to be broadcasting from Washington, D.C. I had such an audience in that station, but apparently I was a little too conservative for the people who run that station. But nevertheless, the audience is still there on the streaming. So I do Washington, D.C. show Monday. Who remember? I can't even remember what I'm doing. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it must be Belgium. I don't even remember. Oh, Tuesday's the lunch. The diplomatic lunch. Wednesday is the train, the Acela, from Washington, D.C. to Manhattan. It gets in too late for me to do the show at W. It comes out in the same building, Penn Station. I can't wait for that train ride. I'm a train nut. But I haven't been on a train in so many years. I used to ride the trains out here, not the rails like a hobo. And I'm going to do the show out of New York on Thursday and Friday of that week, have the dinners. I love those trips to the East. I go to the dinner with my publisher at the great publisher that I have for all my books. And I enjoy eating I could not do that every night. Could I do that every night? I don't think so. Sometimes I think about moving back to New York, getting into this highly intense life, dinners every night. Who could do that? So last night, instead, I cooked spaghetti and a jar of sauce and a chicken. And I put, it's a little secret I have on a little sore throat on top of it. I use a lot of paprika. The old Hungarian paprika works like a miracle. I don't like spicy red pepper that much. I like paprika. It's a very European spice that was used. Albert St. Georgi wrote about it many years ago. Now, here is the question. You can't go home again, foreigners and natives. Do you wish you could move back from where you came? And what happens when you go home? And the issue of Spawn Penn, busted for amphetamine, well, the girl was, and other drugs. I'm asking you, why do you think children of Hollywood rich turn out to be such garbage? And also the Ellen thing. Why is she not being boycotted for laughing about killing Trump?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE. 855-400-SAVAGE.
Oh, I gotta get out the drums now. I love the cowbell. It came from the peasants with the cows in the field. That's how music originated. People were bored to death. But here we are, Kamala Harris, whoever she is. They think she's going to be president. Yeah, right. My dog has a bigger chance. Jokes on being in an elevator with Trump and says, does one of us have to come out alive? That would be the end of a career for any white male. Now imagine Obama's president and a would-be whatever goes on a radio or TV show, and someone says, if you go in an elevator with does one of us have to come out alive? You must apologize. You must step down. And whoever show it was on, boycott city, out of business. But no, what is this, two separate rules here? Yes. Why? Why? I told you why. Because 5 people are the czars of advertising in the media. They're called ad agencies. They are the czars of which shows live and which shows die. Now, I'm going to ask you something. Why have you never heard an ad on my show for Dodge? I have a Dodge Hellcat, which was pulled off the production line 2 years ago by, I won't say who, one of the top people in the Chrysler Corporation who loves my show, but they won't advertise. And I ask why. The ad agency controls what shows we go on. Now, I want to ask you something. How many progressives drive Dodges? 0. How many progressives drive Cadillacs? 0. They listen to my show. I should have Cadillac. I should have Dodge. I wouldn't want Saab. Okay, I know that's a special demographic with the sappy ads. Every ad for, no, not Saab's, the other one. Not Saab. What's the other one? They almost make me cry, those ads for that Swedish car. I don't know what it is. It's always like old couple. I saw the worst movie of my life last night, but it was so bad I had to keep watching it. So I cooked the dinner, the spaghetti, the chicken, a lot of vegetables on the plate of lettuce, drank the half a bottle. I was feeling no pain. Reminded me of the guy Petey in my father's store, the Italian who worked in a store with him. The guy would drink a gallon of red wine every night. They'd find him on the floor. He lived to 97. Everyone laughed at Petey. They said, find him on the floor every morning. We didn't drink wine in those days. A little ceremonial wine. I hated wine as a kid. So I liked his Barolo, especially when I'm a little under the weather. It did his trick, by the way. So I cooked the thing. Then I'm going to watch a TV show like all of us, right? I turned on a show. It was with Julie Christie, is playing the part of an older woman who's committed to a, what they call assisted living, because she's got mild Alzheimer's. And the husband comes and she goes progressively downhill. And then she falls in love with another patient in the old age home and starts, the guy's in a wheelchair, mind you. But she loves him because she's taking care of this guy and he cries in her arms. And the husband comes and gets jealous of his wife, who has Alzheimer's, falling in love with another man. And he doesn't know what to do. It was one of the most tragically depressing movies I've ever seen in my entire life, but I couldn't stop watching it. Because I said to myself, if that's what happens to me, that's the end of the road. I'm never going there. No, that's not going to be me. I'm telling you right now. I will not let that happen. I'm not winding up in an old age home, pushed in a corner by an illegal alien who beats me about the head and neck for the few dollars my children leave me. It's not going to happen. Everyone thinks they're going to live to like 97. They're going to be like a tough guy. Nothing's going to happen to them. It's not how it works out. You wind up in an old age home all alone, pushed in a corner next to a curtain, drooling on yourself, with illegal aliens stealing the small amount of money that your children give you when they come to visit. That's how life ends if you're lucky. At least I think so anyway. But that movie was horrible to watch, I gotta tell you. Yeah, I gotta tell you, that was a horrible movie to watch. Very depressing. I slept like a baby anyway. I don't understand it. No matter what I watch, it doesn't affect me. What does that say about my mind? Like, people say, don't watch violent movies before going to sleep. It doesn't disturb me. One of my favorite TV shows is a show called Strike Back. They got the most beautiful women, great-looking women I've ever seen in my life. And they all play like warrior types, like special forces from Britain, and machine guns, karate chops. It's all fake. But they're beautiful people. To watch them in action, you say, wow, people like that? I doubt it, but it's nice to fantasize, right? The guys are like Adonises, the women are goddesses. How could you not like that, as opposed to watching a show about a depressing thing in an old age home? Horrible, horrible. Because in these assisted livings, what happens is terrible. I went through it already with the parents. Terrible to see. They have an upstairs floor and then an upstairs floor. So when you first go in, they put you on the main floor. Every poor person that goes in there doesn't want to be moved up one floor, because they know it means when you're getting bad, they move you up. And then when you're really bad, they move you up to the third floor. It's the next step to the box. It's a terrible thing. I mean, I went through it with my mother. She dreaded that. She said, whatever happens, don't move me upstairs. It was terrible. Terrible. I don't know. This whole society, what is supposed to do? Well, the Eskimos, the Aleuts, had a way to deal with the old. They put them on ice and pushed the ice floe out to sea. They saved on money that way. Now, why did the Aleuts do that in the ancient days? Think about it. Why did the Aleuts put the elderly and infirm on ice floes and let the ice flow out to sea with the elderly on it? Because they lived in a survival mode where each person had to pull their own weight. And if someone couldn't pull their own weight, the whole group would die. Do you understand that? Now, that's an interesting story because, well, we're not like that. Our society is so rich. We can afford to take in millions and millions of people from around the world and give them heart transplants, sex change operations, food stamps, new cars, because we're such a rich country. Right? Wrong? No, we can't. That little ice flow analogy on a macro scale tells us what a nation really is. It's no different than a family or a village. At a certain point, we're no different than a family group at the end of the day. And that's why there's such a battle going on right now, not only in this country, but every Western nation, over the influx of immigrants that the countries can no longer afford. But on top of that, there's a crime wave going on with the immigration in all countries. Don't fool yourself. Just because CNN isn't reporting it, I'm going to tell you again a statistic you should not forget. The last I checked, 27% of all prisoners in federal prisons, 27% were all illegal aliens who came here and committed multiple felonies, finally got caught and convicted. Now think of how many felonies they have committed prior to getting caught and then prior to getting convicted. So don't tell me they all come here to work, because they don't. And moreover, the drug epidemic, how far do you have to go in your thinking to not understand that if we had a wall, the drug epidemic would be cut severely? Why do you think there's such a fight over this? You're telling me that many of these Democrat politicians are not in the hands of the people bringing in drugs? Are you crazy? How many movies do you have to watch till you get 2 and 2 together? How many movies do you have to watch? What's true in the movies but not true in reality? So the money flows from illegal sources through front men into the hands of politicians who say, all right, go out and give that speech again today on racism. Anyone who stands up against, call him a racist. All right, I'll do it. What do you think it's all about? So you start one man's opinion, that's all. So we're moving along here. I've asked questions. You can call on them if you want. And maybe I'll take a couple of callers. Okay, let's go to Joe on WABC line 3. What's on your mind, Joe? Not there. Dead in the water. Cornish.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. How are you? So how are you today?
Savage.
Yeah.
Am I on?
Yes, you're on. What's on your mind, Joe?
Okay. I'm sitting here for many weeks now trying to process everything that you talk about. And my wife and I said, I don't know who to tell this to. Who could I share this with? And it's going to be pretty profound. But I think,
well, I know for you it's so profound you haven't even said it yet. You've had a minute on national radio. You can't even say it. It's so profound. So we're all waiting.
I think every statue that was taken down should be put back up in America. No statue should be taken down. And unfortunately, I think that at this point in time, we should take down the Statue of Liberty because we cannot be as welcoming as we once were.
Okay, but hold on. The Statue of Liberty is very interesting. It should not be taken down, nor should any Confederate statue be taken down, nor should Benjamin Franklin or Jefferson or Columbus's statues being taken down, because they're part of our heritage. That's number one. But number two, the Statue of Liberty per se is a beautiful, beautiful image as you sail into New York Harbor. I would never like to see that touched. What you are referring to is the inscription on the base by Emma Lazarus, the so-called commie poet, who said, give us you're tired, you're poor, and you're hungry, and you're huddling masses, right? Was he there? Yes or no? You have to have a dialogue.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so what people don't understand is that when that inscription was put on the Statue of Liberty, the country desperately needed poor workers to work in the factories of New York, in the oil fields, in labor in the coal mines. That's when the Polish Lithuanian people came in. They worked like animals in the coal mines. The Irish, they were all brought in to work like slaves in this country to build up the nation and build themselves up. And that is what they did. They waited on line. They knew they would never have the great life, but they knew that their children might. But today you've got immigrants coming in who want the good life the minute they get off the damn boat. And they are promised everything before they even set foot here. And then when they get here, when they get everything, they spit on the flag. They call everybody a racist, and they sue everybody in sight. That is what is going on in this country. So I say, no, don't take down the Statue of Liberty. Understand that when the inscription was put on the base of the statue, which is along the lines of give us you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, and you're huddling masses, yearning to be free. What was it, 1908 in that era? There was no welfare state. In other words, if they wanted to be free, they worked their way out of bondage. No one gave them a handout. There wasn't a lawyer waiting for them to ask them if anyone's insulted them ethnically on the way in. You understand what I'm saying to you? So again, put it in context. I try to explain this to you in all reality. This is very serious. The inscription made sense in 1908, but there was no welfare state. Today there is a welfare state. It's different. So if you were coming here, you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, you're yearning to be free. At that time, it meant you had to work. So where did my ancestors work? Anywhere they could. They lived 16 to a room on the Lower East Side. Today, the apartments are $3 million. They were hovels and tenements in those days. That's where they all landed. You look at Chicago, same thing. Wherever you look, the poor always lived together, multiple families in one apartment. They shifted around on beds. They had beds in the kitchen, you name it. That's how they worked their way out of the slums. And they moved to a better apartment, and they moved out to the suburbs. That's the story of America. Then the grandchildren came along, smoked marijuana, used drugs, became snowflakes, and moved back to the tenements and paid $3 million for the apartment that the grandfather fled. That's the cycle. That's the cycle in America. Only South Park could do it better than I just did it. I'm sorry to tell you something. I didn't mean to tell you this, but I'm out of time and have to take a break.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Hey, could you imagine taking a car on a 100-day test drive? Yeah, right. They're going to give you a car for 100 days. Oh, you go to a shoe store, right? Oh, yeah. Why don't you walk in those shoes for 100 days? Yeah, sure. Well, yet Casper Mattress is doing just that. They're giving you 100 nights to test a mattress in your own house. It's called the 100 Night Sleep Challenge. 100 nights? The Casper Mattress has a unique combination of foams that provide the right pressure relief and alignment so you feel perfectly balanced and comfortable. And it ships for free right to your own door in a little box that you won't believe it can fit in. And if you don't like it, they will pick it up for free and take it back. It's a great deal. So if the choice is to test the mattress by actually sleeping on it for 100 nights in your own house, or going to a store under the neon lights there and the people looking at you flopping around, why don't you try it in your own house? Take Casper's 100-Night Sleep Challenge. You'll love your mattress as much as I love mine, guaranteed. And right now, when you go to Casper.com and use code SAVAGE, you'll save $50 on select mattresses. That's code SAVAGE at Casper.com. You hear what I say already? Casper.com, code SAVAGE. You'll save $50. It's a big deal. Try it out. Terms and conditions apply. Now let's go to the callers. Lots of good callers. WABC, Anthony, line 7. Make it quick, Anthony.
Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Savage. What honor to talk to you. So I have a restaurant. I know you're coming to New York. I'd love to cook you a nice dish of pasta, and I'm willing to put lettuce underneath it.
You never heard of putting hot pasta on cold lettuce, did you?
No. I mean, we got a dish that we put arugula in, but we cook it a little bit first. But
I know. No one does that, but it's a great little trick. It can become a big fad very soon because I started it. Anthony, that's very sweet of you, but for two reasons I have to decline. One, because I never eat listener food. That's number one.
Oh, my God.
No, for example, when I first started in radio, people would send bottles of wine. Oh, dear Michael Savage, we love you. Billy and I would like you to drink this special wine. And you notice that it was like tampered with. You know what I'm saying? Like they put their own. So that's, or, dear Dr. Savage, Mildred and I made you this special cake. Please enjoy. Right in the garbage can. That's number two. I don't have the time either. I'm going to be in Manhattan. You're probably out of Manhattan, right, Anthony?
A quick trip.
Where are you? Where's your restaurant?
It's in New Rochelle.
Yeah, who is Rochelle that they named the town for her? Thanks for the call, Anthony. I wish I could do it, but I can't. Why do you think Hollywood kids wind up such garbage? Almost 100%. It's the same on Pacific Heights in San Francisco. The rich families, they don't work. The parents generally don't work. They got it from the grandfather. And the kids wind up as wastrels. They do nothing with their life. I'm thinking one particular family, there's a TV series coming up about them. A bunch of bums. Nothing. All they do is dance up and down the Pacific Heights steps down there, and they go to lunch every day. What do they ever do for the world? Nothing. Not one of them ever became a teacher, an architect. Nothing. They all become heroin addicts. Then they go to rehab, and they fetch and complain about their lives. Oh, my mother didn't look at me right. Oh, my father was never home. Oh, really? Yeah, everybody. That is so wonderful. What do they applaud there? They had nothing to do all day in rehab. You know, nobody. A whole day long they sit and talk about their problems. No wonder rehab generally doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. I come from tough love. My background is tough love. That's how I was raised. And it wasn't even tough love. It was tough hate, which works even better. But I can't say that today. No one will understand how that works.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.